go, 9:30 Tuesday morning. Let's take a little roll call here. Sports Director Jeff Blankman.
Here.
All right, Assistant Sports Director Casey Miners.
I'm here.
All right.
Hardly awake, but here.
All the important people that we need here are here.
Yeah.
So
more awake. John Ryan.
Yeah, not that important.
More awake than normal. I was in at 9, so.
When I saw you at 9, you weren't awake.
No.
But you woke up in that half an hour.
You looked like you were about to take a nap on the front office.
I could have.
We got a lots to talk about in sports, but just not much locally. Not much has happened. And you've had, one track meet? You said 4 or 5 soccer games, and that's it?
Yeah, we had the Audubon girls hosted their track meet last week, and we had, 5 teams down there, and had some kids do really well. Jalen Peterson,
big surprise
from Audubon, really jumped off of the board. One thing we haven't talked about, speaking of Audubon, is that they're now combined pretty much with all girls sports with Exira Elkhorn Kimballton. So we haven't really touched on that a whole lot, but Audubon is combined.
It's the participation of tell me why that is.
Just a lack of numbers. I mean, they did it with
from
girls,
Audubon or from Exira?
Both. From both.
Okay.
I mean, they joined for girls basketball because Audubon was going to have 2. I knew they were talking and had pretty much planned to do golf this year because both of their golf numbers had been low the last few years, and they just decided with that Exira doesn't have a ton of kids, so their track numbers had been kind of low. At Audubon's numbers on girls track had been going down a little bit, so they combined, and now I think they have 26 or 27 girls out between the two, and they figured if they were going to share those, Audubon also has a tennis team, so any Exira Elkhorn Kimballton kids that wanted to come do tennis, they're also sharing tennis with IKM Manning now as well. So anybody anybody that wants to come and play tennis from those 2 schools is able to come and do it, and from what I understand, they're going to be combining for all girls sports from now on. So at least for the near future and stuff. So
that'll be a year-to-year deal?
Yes, I would imagine so.
It'll be very tough once you go to that to break away from something like that, because you would think it just doesn't promote each school having just their own separate team.
Right. The only school I think I've ever heard do that was Collins Maxwell Baxter, which is now Baxter and Collins Maxwell, because they re-separated for athletics and
Alta
stuff.
Aurelia broke apart for a while, but that's just because the parents couldn't stand each other.
That's typically what creates the problem.
And I think they went back together again, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they're back together again. Yep.
It's like you can't make it on your own.
Yeah, no. So it'll be interesting to see. Collins Maxwell's been separated with Baxter now for 5-6 years, so it'll be interesting to see 2 smaller school districts if they'll be able to hold up. But the kids get along. It's generally not the kids that are the issue when schools combine.
Rarely, if ever.
Right. Yeah.
I think with the athletes, both schools have the immediate success they could see in girls basketball and softball this summer. That I don't know if they'll want to go away from it. Because depending on what school they're with, depending on conference, they could see immediate success and whatever. Like if they're going in as Audubon or Exira, they can see immediate success in most girls' sports now.
Yeah,
nothing drives up numbers like winning.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. So and it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if there's been a determination yet on who's hosting what or any of those type of things yet. But
you see, Carol and Kemper are still sharing programs: the tennis program, cross country program, things like that. So it's
swimming,
a great idea.
Girls and boys swimming. Yeah.
If you don't have enough, combine. What's the difference?
Yeah. So no, I think it's great because I've said it for wrestling for a few years. Instead of only having 4 or 5 kids out for wrestling and you have no chance to compete on a team level, why don't all of the schools or some of the schools that are struggling with numbers combine so that you can, actually go and compete as a team, And I thought Jeff Hundle had a great idea when it came to the wrestling thing.
Whoa.
First time ever.
All right, let's give Jeff Hundle props here. Jeff, way to go. Nice idea. We haven't even heard it, but I'm on board with it. Let's do it.
I think it could work for other sports as well, but I think wrestling would be easier to make it work, and that is that, have each of the kids set. So I'm just going to throw out some schools, and I'm not meaning they have to combine, but we're talking Audubon, so I'll throw Audubon there with Exira Elkhorn Kimballton. You could do Coon in that mix as well because they've shared some other stuff as well. But, the Coon kids, if they want to wear a Coon singlet, if the Exira kids want to wear an Exira Elkhorn Kimballton singlet, if the Audubon kids want to wear an Audubon singlet, they can do that. They're still a team, and they're wrestling under one name or whatever. But that way, if the schools are concerned about we're not getting our part of it, I thought that was a pretty good idea.
You can still represent your school, but be part of a different team, a combined team.
Yes, absolutely. I thought that was a good idea. Yeah.
So not much happening on the local scene. So you guys are getting plenty of rest, right?
Yeah, more than what we're used to.
I always have no rest. I don't know what it is. Just a tired person all the time.
All right. Wait till the sports actually get going.
Yeah.
How many teams do you say you guys are covering?
46 teams this spring.
46 teams.
Yeah, between the 10 schools that we cover, between track, soccer, tennis, and golf, we will have 46 teams. So we are going to do our best. I keep a list of all 46 at the house, and every time either Casey or I see a team, I make a mark. We try to get to everybody. I'd like to do it 3 times a year. It's just difficult, especially in a year like this. We're already almost a week and a half into the season. We've had a couple of track meets already canceled today as well. So when sports aren't happening, it's hard to get out. So I did have a friend of mine say that we need to write an article because, we take some flack every now and then, and I think most of it's kind of lighthearted stuff, but people will be like, oh, you finally got out to see us. And it's like, it's kind of difficult when there's 46 teams to get to everybody on a regular basis. Like before the track meet, I was going to go cover tonight, got canceled. KC was going to go cover tennis and then go cover golf. Now we'll split that out a little bit, but there are nights where you start at a golf meet, you hit a tennis match, and then you end your night at a track meet or something. So it's not like we're not out trying to get to a lot of different events, but with 46 teams, it's just hard to get to everybody a ton.
I would say so. Plus, that kind of goes with your coaches' interviews that you guys are doing throughout the season. Yes, you're going to do coaches' interviews, but it's not going to be everybody every week. You can't do 23 each every single week.
Yeah, we started this during the winter sports season, and Casey had the idea. I had mentioned that maybe we needed to text the coaches and kind of get their thoughts, and stuff on how their teams were doing. And Casey says, well, why don't we just interview them? And I'm like, not a bad idea. So we started doing that, and you can find that on the Podcast Center. It's a weekly sports recap and interviews or something like that. I think is the link under but it's on the podcast. You'll find it. I think it's the second one down. But we started interviewing all of the wrestling and basketball coaches each week during the winter, and now we've taken that right here into the spring. We just started it up again yesterday because we were anticipating actually having some sports to talk about and stuff. But with 46 teams, what we're going to do is we're going to interview, like, boys coaches are all this week. Girls coaches will be next week, and then the week after that we'll go back to boys, and then the week after that we'll do girls coaches again, trying to find a way, because there's just too many interviews to try and get 46 in each week.
And understand if your coach is not in there, maybe they just couldn't connect that week.
Yep.
So you got to move on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're trying to get everybody covered and trying to get the interviews with all the coaches, things like that. But
and we've left it up to the coaches, because some of them coach, like I did an interview with Rusty Wintermote this morning. He is the Kemper tennis coach. So he handles both the girls and boys programs. We left it up to those kind of coaches. Do you want to talk boys one week and girls the next, or do you want to just talk every other week and do both sports, both genders on the same interview? And I think most of the coaches we've talked to are like, I think it'll just be easier to get both done in one interview. So
So there you go. Also, we got pictures from the man coming up on the website.
Jeff Storian will be back out with us. Yep, he'll be back out with us starting this spring here soon, and you can find his photos. They'll be back on our website and on our Facebook page. And again, the really cool thing is he's been taking pictures there, I think, since 1987 or 1988 is what he told me. So he's been taking sports pictures for a really long time. If you don't know his name, you know his work. Let's just say that. But
dude knows how to get a great angle, a great shot.
Yeah. But his pictures will be free to download again. So you can go to the Facebook page or the website when they're posted and download them for free. You can use them at graduation parties. I've seen a lot of them there, or wherever you want to use them. And then Casey and I will be out trying to get video interviews at night as well, and we'll get those uploaded onto our CB Sports Network website, Facebook, and also the YouTube pages every night, and Twitter as well. So
it's kind of crazy. You guys are always out busy doing the video interviews, talking to the kids, but the biggest reaction you get are the short little clip videos that you put on like Instagram of doing like the long jump or the high jump or something like that. they draw thousands of views.
Yeah, we're going to be doing kind of the highlight video things that we had done the last couple of years and stuff. We'll start up on those here soon, where you'll get like minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes with some music behind it. But one of the other things that we're going to look to do is maybe on the nights where we're not focused on shooting a full ton of video to be able to do a video highlight thing, we'll shoot little short clips and upload them. So the other night down at Audubon, I shot some of the long jump and some of the high jump and posted those out. And you said, 4, 5, 6 second, 7 second long clips, and it seems to draw a lot of attention, which is cool. So you go to our Instagram, the CB Sports Network Instagram page, to check out all of those things.
And we are going to talk about a sad note, the passing of Dan Cook, former girls basketball coach, took over for his brother.
Yes.
To do that, and unfortunately passing away, some heart issues there, I think. Yeah,
Dan had been struggling a little bit the last few years and stuff, but he was girls basketball coach at Arweva. He'd been on the football staff. I don't know if there's been many sports that Dan hadn't had his hand in at some point or another over there. And you and I both got to work with him, and stuff back when you were calling games. Just
one of the nicest guys.
Yes, absolutely. Just a great human being. And I know as their tech guy for a long time as well, when we needed to get passwords to be able to make things work over there when we go over to do a broadcast, Dan always took care of us. So I just wanted to mention it this morning. I saw it on Facebook late last night, so I haven't had an opportunity to reach out to any of the Arweva family that I know over there, but just wanted to give our thoughts and prayers out to Dan and his family, and then to the Arweva family for their loss. But tremendous guy.
Yeah, a huge loss for the Arweva Athletics and the Arweva School District, and our condolences out to them. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We are going to talk NCAA tournament, some of the mishaps, some of all of the confusion and junk that goes along with it. That's on the way next from KCIM Sports Rewind.
Do you have a trivia question that we need?
I do. I'm not going to give it to you yet, though.
Okay.
Just hold on.
You're going to make
Who's
me
hosting
think
this
quickly?
show? Are you hosting this show? Seriously? Are you pushing the buttons? I can turn your microphone off at any moment.
Please do.
I think I will.
As the athletes at your house prepare for hard work and fun of the season, remember that St. Anthony Rehab Services provides physical therapy for any sports injury that may sideline your member of the team. Sports injuries can plague kids of all ages and keep them from playing the sport they love. Athletes will be under the direct supervision of a certified and licensed healthcare professional in the newly renovated sports performance facility. If an injury is keeping your athlete out of the game, call St. Anthony Rehabilitation Services at 794-5000 for sports injury and treatment rehab.
All right, KCIM Sports Rewind here, and a little trivia. I found this one this morning.
Okay.
And I would have had no clue, so I thought, that's a perfect one. That's a perfect one right there. It says, NC State and UConn are the first schools since 2017 to send their men's and women's teams to the Final Four in the same year. I think it's NC State.
NC State. They made the women's as well. Yep.
What school did it in 2017? And the hint, we'll give you the hint, their women's team won the title that year. So NC State, UConn are the first schools since 2017 to send their men's and women's team to the Final Four in the same year. Which school did it in 2017? And the hint is the women's team.
Can I answer now?
You want to ruin it for us?
Well,
let the listeners out there thinking about it for a while. So let's talk about the NCAA tournament. My least favorite sports people this week are the people who make the courts. Seriously, you made a 3-point line 7 or 9 inches short, Casey?
I think either 7 or 9. It was pretty close.
Yeah,
it's pretty close. It's close enough.
Yeah,
but
half a foot to a foot.
Yeah, and you made the point this morning, Casey, about you're shocked it wasn't mentioned earlier.
Yeah, well, they found it on the fourth. It was the last game in Portland on
so they played
Sunday.
5 games on that court before. I think they found it after 4 games, didn't do anything about it, and then they talked about it after the 5th game, and the final game on that court for the first 6 games was like, we'll just go ahead and play before it gets fixed.
Me being the Texas fan, Vic Schaefer's, who's the head coach, women's head coach at Texas, was actually the one that realized it. Right. And was like to the refs, like, do you see this? Yeah. And then the NC State coach came over and they talked about it. They ended up playing playing, which it's all right, but because both teams get to play on that half of the court. But how do you not notice that before?
Yeah. First of all, the players,
right?
Players themselves. I mean, they should have been the first ones to notice that. Going, hey, wait a minute, something's wrong here. Second of all, do you know why they decided to play the game like that?
I don't know. I would assume that it would have taken too long to get a new court on there.
Would have taken about an hour and a half to kind of put a little tape on the floor there. But that's not the reason. The reason they said they were going to lose their ABC primetime slot on television.
Right.
That's why they decided to play that. So it's
the game
interesting.
would have been moved to an ESPN channel.
Yep.
Yeah.
They would have gotten bumped from their primetime TV slot.
Wow. Yeah,
that's funny. That's interesting that they did it that way.
It tells you how important being on prime time is to the schools, especially when you've got a sport that's exploding and you want to be a part of that explosion. If you're not on the prime time, it's hard to be a part of that explosion.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, it just like I said, it baffles me that you didn't see that the first game, and they got it fixed for last night's games, but that just baffles me. You didn't see that the first game.
Yeah,
huge embarrassment for the NCAA though.
And I would agree with you that the players should have noticed it, but how do the officials not notice that?
Well, aren't they supposed to go out because they do it in Iowa? They go out and they check to make sure that everything's okay. Like if you're an official walking the court before the game, how do you not notice that?
Yeah, this seems to be really close because you've officiated enough games all year. How do you go? This one seems to be really close to the top of the key. What's wrong here? Yeah,
and the area being shaded made it even more obvious. I thought, but it's crazy. They decided to play, and ESPN went back and said actually the girls that were shooting on the farther distance, the actual distance, did better than they did on the short one, which. Three-point shot is really a lot of muscle memory.
Right.
And if you're all of a sudden 7 to 9 inches closer, that could really screw up your shot.
Yeah. It also tells you that they can't shoot from just inside the original three-point line. Kidding. But I got an idea. I like this, your least favorite people. We need to find a sponsor for that.
There you go.
And do that as a weekly thing. John's have a theme for it.
Who wants to be the grumpy sponsor for my least favorite sports people of the week? So, big matchup last night, of course. First of all, have you ever seen a sport explode like women's college basketball? Just within a matter of a couple of years, just boom. I mean, it's been kind of percolating a little bit, but just the last couple of years with Caitlin Clark exploding.
I would have thought the way volleyball seemed to explode this fall, and stuff that volleyball had set a level, but the basketball thing has taken it to a whole different level. I was watching some Nebraska interviews with their volleyball team as they're kind of going through their beach season the other day, and some of the girls were talking. And it's like, that Nebraska went undefeated, for most of the year this year and stuff with a bunch of freshmen starting, and they're like, we thought it was crazy for us, and we thought we had found some popularity. They're like, we're way down here in Caitlin Clark and the Iowa women's basketball team. So, I mean, when you have players that, were huge during the volleyball season, kind of admitting that, we pale in comparison to what the women's basketball has got going on.
I really don't know if it's going anywhere. With Paige coming back next year, that gives them another
Juju back for the next couple of years.
Juju's only a freshman. Hannah Hidalgo from Notre Dame,
and Angel Reese could be back next year unless she declares for the WNBA.
Yeah, I think she already has. She's done.
I'm not sure because Haley Van Lith can come back too, and that's another big big star for LSU, but. Yeah, the women's game's not going anywhere.
No.
A lot of the freshmen that are playing now, and you have some of the girls that can still come back that are already big in the sport. And, the ratings will still stay up.
The one thing that basketball has for it, and that Caitlin Clark does, is the logo 3. I mean, volleyball does not have a logo 3. I mean, you can get up there and spike the ball, and man, it's impressive. But everybody does the same shots pretty much.
Yep.
So there's no real big breakout star in college volleyball for women.
Yeah, and what a job by Travis Scott to get his name out to people who probably had no clue who he was.
I was surprised you knew who he was.
Well, but he has swallowed the Iowa women's basketball team, but I wonder how much of it is to get his name out to people who probably had no idea, or is he really that big of a Iowa women's basketball fan, or is he using this as an opportunity
he's been a
to
Caitlin
sell
Clark
himself
fan from the start?
Has he? Okay.
Yeah, he's been a Caitlin Clark fan from the start. Jason Sudeikis was at the game last night too.
He even did the "can't see me" thing to LSU.
Yeah, so I just think that the celebrities that get to come out and sing is kind of crazy.
I just need to remind Casey that you're talking to two old guys here, that we don't know who Travis Scott was.
I knew who Travis Scott was.
Yeah, that's what I said when a couple weeks ago when Jeff brought that up. I was surprised.
I have, yes.
Wow.
I have nephews. My nephew Isaac down there in Manning listens to all that, so I have discussions with him all the time about, not all the time, but sometimes about the artists that he likes and stuff. So I wouldn't say I'm hip and cool by any means, but I at least know who. I just showed you how unhip and cool I am.
Hip and cool? No, that's totally wrong on that end. Let's talk about the actual game, though. Caitlin Clark came out second half. First of all, Angel Reese, that first quarter was dynamite from her.
Right.
She came out and scored 10 points and was really just kind of threatening to take over the game.
Right.
It looked like LSU could take over pretty early. But then she had that collision with Caitlin Clark, goes off the court, and I don't know if she rolled her ankle or what the deal was with that, but she didn't seem like she was the same player. I know, Jeff, you didn't probably see much of the game at Casey. Did you see enough to think about that?
I thought the first quarter, Iowa came out hot, and then jumped up to like an 8-9 point lead at 17. I think it was like 17-9, and then I checked my phone, and all of a sudden LSU's up, and
like 29-23 or something like that.
Angel Reese had a really good first quarter. I don't know quite what it was the rest of the game. I don't know if it was Caitlin Clark and Iowa just shooting the ball better, but. Yeah, the first quarter for LSU couldn't have went any better for them.
Yeah, and you mentioned that she twisted the ankle and didn't maybe appear to be the same player.
Yeah, just didn't have the explosiveness down the floor and things like that. So I don't know. Maybe it was nothing, but Clark hitting 3-pointers. The TV caught him, and several times these LSU players are running back, kind of lifting their hands up, going, "I can't stop that."
Yeah, and when Caitlin gets going, there's no stopping her. But speaking of Angel Reese, for as maybe she wasn't as sharp the rest of the game, but still finished with 16 points, 20 rebounds, and like 3 block shots. So everybody that wants to ride her for her eyebrows and for her attitude and everything else, she is still a tremendous basketball player. And give her at least some credit. If you want to bash her, that's up to you being an adult.
Just
but
don't.
Just
be better than that.
The ones that get me are the ones where you see they tag her in it so that she has to, so that she potentially sees it. And it's like, okay, you're a 40-some, 50-some-year-old adult and you're attacking a 21, 22-year-old kid or young adult, move on and get over it. It's a ball game.
Watch that first quarter and you will see what a player that Angel Reese is. But,
absolutely.
Second half was just outstanding. And Caitlin Clark, I'm kind of getting used to the logo threes, but I love to watch her pass the ball to teammates.
Yes.
Heads up floor, she is one of the smartest players. You can tell just from her passing ability. I'm taking old school here. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson.
Yep.
She's kind of in that league in women's basketball.
Yeah. I
go basketball period.
I go back to the round before, and everybody talked about the dime that she had when she was kind of facing the half court line and turn and kind of threw that bounce pass to the cutter and stuff for a bucket. But she had one earlier in that game where they're out on the break and there's 3 defenders between her and a teammate, and on the run, on the dribble, she throws a bounce pass in between all those defenders that leads her player in for a wide open layup. And I'm like, that's a Magic Johnson pass there. There's very few players that have the ability to be able to make that pass. So that was the one that for her dimes that kind of jumped out at me.
I think Lisa Bluter said before the tournament started that it's not Caitlin's scoring. She might average over 30 points a game, but it's her passing that really gets this team going. And she said sometimes when she's sitting on the sidelines coaching and she sees Caitlin do a pass, she goes, no, oh, good job.
It's kind of like those logo threes probably early in her career. No, oh yeah, good shot. Yeah.
You can keep on hitting those.
It's what she's able to do with the basketball just in general is crazy. Probably her best NCAA performance, I think, last night. Outside of the South Carolina game last year. To help Iowa get to the Final Four.
Yeah.
What I'm impressed with too is the rest of the Iowa team knows how to play with a superstar on their team. The one that truly leads the team.
Yeah.
You don't see them fumble the passes very often. That's a clean catch. They're always looking to get the basketball, and they're cutting to the basket at the correct angles.
Yep.
That's just great coaching on Lisa Bluter's part. But every situation, those girls are like, hey, Caitlin could hit me with a pass any second now. I need to be ready. And that impressed me about the Iowa girls team last night.
And I think the other thing, too, is that we need to give Gabby Marshall some credit. I think her defense is underrated. I think what
only
Iowa
3
does,
points last night, but had a huge impact.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what she does on the defensive end sometimes gets forgotten about because of all of the stuff that happens for Iowa down on the offensive end. But they're a great defensive team at times, and I think they're a great defensive team because of Gabby Marshall.
All right, I saw a tweet last night, and I had to save it for this one. You know how obviously LSU is they get all kinds of people that hate them, and things like that. This guy from Milwaukee, his name is Mike Suzek, I think his name goes. I love Caitlin Clark, I love Angel Reese, I love Floje Johnson and Gabby Marshall. Tiebreaker here. Rooting against Kim Mulkey. Go Iowa. That was the tiebreaker.
And Kim's a character. But what if you see the embrace that her and Caitlin had and the laugh that's on Caitlin's face as those two are hugging after the game, I don't think.
Do you know what she said?
Yeah, I'm glad you're leaving, or don't come back, or something
she said,
of that nature.
I'm glad you're leaving, girl. You are something else. Never seen anything like it.
Yes, everybody has their moments where they annoy you, and Kim certainly has, I think, a lot of those. But I don't think she's probably as bad a person maybe as what sometimes it seems like she's made out to be. And I think part of what she does, I'm just guessing here, is she takes pressure off of her girls by taking a lot of the flack onto herself by doing some of the things that she does and saying some of the things that she says. So.
She might be my second least favorite, because she didn't wear a wild outfit last night. She was in green. I mean, just green.
Didn't look like a disco ball out there.
And I'm amazed.
Just one color. That's it.
Yeah.
How boring.
I'm amazed at how many people though have to post things about what she's wearing and stuff. And it's like, really, we worry about what somebody's wearing that much that we have to rip on it on social media.
Is it craving attention, or is it taking attention or a distraction off of her team so they can play a little loose?
Absolutely. But
I do have a couple of other things going on.
Yeah.
So the transfer portal. Okay, I got punked yesterday. Cyclone Dan, Cyclone Larry, whoever the heck you are, I am unfollowing you because they tweeted yesterday. Of course,
April
Omaha
Fools.
Baloo entered the transfer portal. He tweeted that Milan Momcilovic was entering the transfer portal, and I thought I saw somebody else of a reputation say that as well, saying, "Wow, this is going to hurt." And I went on thinking about that last night, and I said it on the air this morning. And then I realized it's not true.
It's April Fools.
Jerks. But Omaha Baloo is transferring.
Yes, I tell you what, as a Nebraska fan, I sit here and we just lost a starter to the transfer portal. So we've got 5 kids in the transfer portal after the year that we had over there. It gets a little worrisome, and I have confidence in Fred to rebuild things. But, I think TJ will be fine. But, you wonder with the Omaha Baloo one, what happened there that he's transferring out. So.
Do you think it's either Iowa, Nebraska, or somewhere else?
I don't know. I don't really think Iowa or Nebraska was really in the hunt when he was in high school.
No.
So I don't.
Yeah, I'm sure Nebraska would take him. I'm sure Iowa would take him.
I'm sure both will reach out.
Yeah,
but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
Will it be like a Kentucky that takes him? I'm not sure.
I don't know if...
I've heard Gonzaga might be the leader in that, but I don't know for sure. Yeah.
Without him playing much, I don't know how, gung-ho a lot of the power schools will be.
Right.
I think he can still play Power 5 basketball, but I don't know if it'll be at, a Kentucky or a big power school like that.
Kentucky probably needs to get older rather than younger with the struggles they've had for the last 5 years in the tournament.
Calipari's, I think Calipari, we're going to see the end of Calipari and Bill Self here the next 5 or so years.
Ooh, going to Bill Self too. I wouldn't be
there was speculation that he was going to retire this year.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. After his comments, and after they lost, he said that he's been focusing on next season already for he didn't. It's that to me it sounds like a coach that didn't really care.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you admit that you didn't focus on the last part of the season. You were already focused on getting everything ready for next year. That kind of says something. So, but
we're running out of time here. So, are we still doing the bracket challenge?
Yes, we are.
Is that still a thing?
I'll run through because two of the people in this room are currently sitting in first place.
Do we even need to? I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
Men's side of the things.
Should we start from the bottom?
Yeah, well, we can do that. We'll start on the men's side of things. And a guy that is clinched last place.
Clinched people.
And I'm starting to wonder if it's just a Coon Rapids Baird thing because, Tom Hawkap works down in Coon Rapids. And last year he was in the basement on the men's bracket. So the trophy's not going to have to travel far, just up the hill a little bit.
Maybe, just a couple of blocks away. But, maybe it's in the water down there.
Corey Meyer, great guy, but has locked in last place because he had nobody in the round of 8, which means he has nobody in the round of 4, so he can't score any more points.
I could totally see Corey doing the whole computer pick me and just doing a random search and sending them in, though. I could totally see him doing that.
Absolutely. And stuff.
Maybe he's punking us.
The guy that's barely above him, but above him is Honnold. Now, he's lucky because I think he has, UConn winning it, so he might jump up, a little ways yet. But Clive Clark, last year's champion, sitting in 24th place. Ashley Kaler in 23rd. You got Sean Minahan, Jason Phillips, and Janie Stolk in 20th. And Nick Brinks and Tom Hawkap in 18th. So, Tom, your name of, no more toilet trophy or whatever is going to hold up. Keith Wagner in 17th. KC is in 16th place. Todd Danner in 15th. Randy Beeson in 14th. Caitlin McAllister and Andrew Klink in 12th. Kurt Bada in 11th. Katie Cook in 10th place. You've got myself and Todd Bodentrager tied for 8th. Tennessee killed me. If they'd have gotten into the Final Four, I'd have won it.
Wow.
I know. Doug Waniger and Gene Rasmussen tied for 6th. Darren Miller and Matt Wilkin tied for 4th. Derek Tiggison in 3rd. Terry Kaspabauer in 2nd. He has Purdue as his champion. And then Mr. John Ryan is in the lead right now, and he has Alabama winning it. So if Alabama wins, John will win it. If Purdue wins it, Terry will win it. If UConn wins it, it looks like it's going to be Derek Tiggison over there at Glen Ralston. So
this is where my dream crumbles.
Yes.
As I've watched UConn roll through the competition. I've ridden Alabama all the way to number 1 so far.
Yeah.
I would love to see Alabama take down UConn.
Yes.
And see them go on to win it.
Not me, because I have UConn, so I need them, because then I finish probably top 5. Women's bracket challenge standings. We'll start at the top on this one. Casey Miner sitting right now in first place. He has the Hawkeyes. Clive Clark, I'm thinking he has the Hawkeyes too. I can't remember for sure. But Clive is sitting in second. So last year's men's champion has a chance to still win the women's. I'm tied with Todd Danner for 3rd. I do have UConn winning it. Sean Minahan is in 5th, Ashley Kaler 6th, Todd Bontrager 7th, Gene Rasmussen 8th, Jeff Honnold 9th, Jason Phillips 10th, and you hate to say it, but Katie Cook up there at Carroll High, she's sitting in the cellar on the women's side of things. But if memory serves me correct, I think she might have had she didn't have Iowa State. I don't remember who she has.
South Carolina.
So she has the chance to not finish in last place, depending on how
everybody that did the women's still has their champion alive because they all picked either Iowa or
South Carolina. Yep. So
all right. So that is KCIM Sports Rewind. We're going back to the trivia question.
Baylor.
NC State and UConn. Baylor? Incorrect. Incorrect. Yes. NC State and UConn are the first schools since 2017 to send their men's and women's team to the Final Four that same year. What school did it? 2017.
The only school I could think of would be UConn.
UConn has to be. No.
I think with John said that he didn't know it, so it makes sense that it wouldn't be a powerhouse for the women. But
I'm trying to think besides.
They're a powerhouse this year.
Yeah. South Carolina? No.
South Carolina.
Their men didn't win it, though.
No.
But their women's team, they made the Final Four.
Oh,
but
that was when they were like an 8 seed.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you
I
go.
thought it was a team that had won both. That's why I was thinking either Baylor or UConn.
So, Jeff Blankman, you thought you were correct, but in fact, you were not.
I'm a Jeff Honnold then.
Wow. On that note, we're going to end KCIM Sports Rewind.